Wow, that's unbelievable. It is impressive to see a 300-pound man bust a high-flying move like he is a cruiserweight. It never fails to impress me as a viewer. It really defines physics and put me as 180-pound guy into shame because I know I can't do a moonsault, but Vader can, and he would do it on a regular basis. You might have a false impression on super heavyweight wrestlers, and you might as well think they have zero agility. Well, this video here is to prove that wrong and will leave you speechless with a display of athleticism that these big guys are capable of doing. Anyway, I'm MAH and this is the top 10 surprisingly agile WWE superstars. Now without further ado, let's rank them. Number 10. Brodie Reed. Man, WWE struck gold with their son Brodie Reed and they just let him go like that. It's really sad. He's very talented. He's big, he has the look, he doesn't strike you like an agile athletic guy, you'd assume at least he's powerful, but he's fast and indeed athletic. He can bust a whole lot of impressive maneuvers that someone in his size isn't capable of doing. We're talking about a 330-pound athlete here, and yet he can do a better suicide dive than someone half his size. His moveset is just incredible. It's a perfect combination of speed and strength, which also reminds me of another guy that I'll be mentioning later. Number 9. Scott Steiner. Scott Steiner is not technically super heavyweight, I'm fully aware of that. He's not in the same weight class as someone like Big Show for example, but he's still a big guy. He's very muscular. In fact, too muscular that you could barely wrestle, at least not how he used to be. He undergone a huge anabolic transformation and it slowed him down in the process, which could have explained why his in-ring work in WWE sucked. He wasn't agile and that's what people think of him. But do you know, he used to do a 450 splash. I'm not kidding, here's a video. Look at that. Unbelievable. It's not the prettiest, but man, that's hella impressive. He actually, believe it or not, invented the move. He also used to do Hurricane Rana here and there, and it looks smooth too. And this move, which I guess it's a fallaway moonsault slam, it looks beautiful and incredible. He was the best in his prime. People tend to forget about his agility a lot. Number 8. Rikishi. Rikishi at his heaviest is 410 pounds. It's unbelievable how consistent is the way he used to sell the clothesline. I've always loved how he do like a flip before he takes the bumps. Pac does it too. Only difference is, he weighs 205 pounds, which is exactly half Rikishi's size. It's crazy. He would take crazy bumps for his size, he had a decent super kick, and on top of that, he would have mind doing something as risky as a body splash from the top of steel cage. And that's not only take guts, but it's super dangerous. He was a very flexible super heavyweight wrestler, which is not very appreciated enough. Number 7. Kane. So you're watching Kane vs Albert on SmackDown 2001. Then one thing led to another and you just witnessed the big red machine, the 325-pound doing a Hurricane Rana like the true luchador that he is. And man, what a sight to see. Now that's something you don't see every day. Not in a random match against Albert at least. And he didn't stop there, he busted a cool looking missile dropkick in mid-air, in the same damn match. He woke up that day and said maybe I should try some high flying for a change. It reminds me of when he was doing chain wrestling with Big Show. It was ugly, but considering the sizes, holy shit. He also casually jumped off a cage on a pay-per-view one time. He didn't have to, but he wanted to risk it all that day. He can also do an enziguri, which is also rad. God, I love Kane. Number 6. The Undertaker. While Kane's stuff is astonishing, he's not the most agile in the family. Taker is athletic. Don't let your memory of his WrestleMania match with Roman fool you. I mean, getting old sucks. But let's not pretend that he didn't used to do a tope suicida that not only looked impressive, but it's one of the best in the business and you can fight me. The height of the move is incredible. If you don't appreciate this, then you're having trouble processing the idea of a 310-pound man flying that high. It requires athleticism and guts. Lots of guts. I mean, Taker almost broke his neck not once but twice doing this move. And you can go back in the 90s and you can see the display of agility in the moves that he would bust here and there. Moves that you would never expect him to perform in a million years. Even his signature jumping crossline never gets old. Number 5. Braun Strowman. What a fall from grace, huh? I remember 2017 when he was red hot, people ate the shit he was doing. The guy was a beast. He was strong and he was terrifying. The booking helped as well. But man, he was not only strong but he's very athletic for 385-pounder. And in a way, seeing him doing a dropkick or how he runs when he chases opponents made him somehow even scarier. The moves he sometimes does shocks the crowd because that's not something you'd expect from just looking at him. It never crosses your mind that Braun Strowman would somehow do a keep-up in a match against Big Show of all people. Look at these sequences, my god, am I watching PWG? And he didn't just do it once, he would bust it anytime he had a match with Big Show for some reasons. Speaking of Big Show, number 4, Big Show. Not to take anything away from Braun Strowman, nor I'm trying to make his keep-up less impressive, but Big Show though. Big Show doing a freaking keep-up, are you kidding me? I mean, he used the rope to do it, but still, it's still better than Miz's. And we're talking about a giant here, a 400-pound man doing a freaking keep-up. In his younger days, he used to also casually perform dropkicks left and right. He wasn't slim back then either, he was a heavy dude, but age caught up, I guess. At least he can still be able to do elbow drop later in his career. Big Show did a moonsault once too. I'm sorry there is no clip to prove that, but you have to trust me on this one. This is actually true. He did it on WCW Power Plant and he was threatened to be fired if he did it again. I swear this is true. Number 3, Keith Lee. What can be said about Keith Lee that haven't been said before? The guy is a miracle. He's one of a kind. From one look at him, you would never have ever guessed that he can do a clean looking moonsault. That's insane. His high-flying arsenal is not limited to just that. He can do a somersault plancha like it's nothing, a freaking slingshot crossbody, Hurricane Rana, a corkscrew plancha. And while you're still processing how that's possible, here's Lee doing Spanish Fly. His matches with Dominik Dijakovic are just platforms to showcase what T and Dijakovic are capable of doing regardless of their sizes. And my god, they set the bar so high for themselves every match. And you think to yourself, there's no way these could top the stuff they did. And they prove you wrong every time and leave you speechless. Number 2, Vader. Vader was arguably the greatest super heavyweight in wrestling history, and I'm talking in-ring work-wise, because I know some would say Andre the Giant and that's fine, but Vader was something else. His matches, especially in New Japan, were fights. He's notorious for his shoot-style wrestling and for being tough SOB and one of the scariest men that have ever lived. He was truly a perfect monster heel. What made Vader stand out wasn't just his size and his terrifying look, but the fact that he can do a fucking moonsault. He's 450 pounds in case you are wondering. How that's even possible is beyond me. I mean, it sucks for the guy who's taking the bump, but it's always a treat to see a Vader moonsault once in a while. And you know what blew my mind the most? Is that sometimes when he misses, he lands on his feet. And that's another level of insanity. And number 1, Bam Bigelow. The late great Bam Bigelow was the most agile big man in the business, hands down. Because of his athleticism and speed, you just forget that he weighed 390 pounds, and that speaks volumes for him as a wrestler. He wasn't just a tremendous worker, he was doing flashy moves, and to think that he was doing these moves in the 80s, early 90s is 2 times more impressive. He was ahead of his time. He reminds me of Kevin Owens. Bam was like that, but way bigger. I mean, look at this move. You can't tell me that he wasn't a one-of-a-kind athlete. The big man moved like he weighed nothing. And that's it, we reached the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe and comment. I'm MH, and I'll see you soon. Tschüss!